What's up, y'all? This is BP.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Star Child.
It's your boy, Kid Dream. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to GamerCredits. This is going to be Season 3, Level 1. Let's introduce the players. Player 1, BP.
Yo, kid, what up, man?
Oh, man, you know.
Good to be
Nothing
back,
much.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
You been all right?
Hey, man, new me, new mic, new everything, man. So we'll see how this goes.
Dang, new BP.
Hey, man, hopefully. I just wish I had a new name.
I mean, you could always change that if you want.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not good with names, so I need some help.
All right. Well,
Are you
maybe
requesting for the audience to go ahead and submit in some actual ideas for your new name?
At this point, I wouldn't be choosy. Like I'll go with whatever sounds good, I guess. So yeah, if they
Alright.
want to participate, that's cool. If y'all want to put something together, that's cool. I'll still work on it, but I can promise you that I'll come up with something terrible.
Be
as
careful when
BP is already terrible.
you give the internet control like that. They will do some dangerous things.
Yeah,
Mm,
well, hey, it is what it is, right?
yeah.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
On that note, player 2, Captain Starchild.
Captain Star. What?
Hey, man, why you
No,
acting brand new, man? We've been through this before.
no, I would rather go with Star Child, but I'm great. How you doing?
Doing all right. Still don't like that captain, huh?
No.
I don't understand why, man. I mean, Captain. It's kind of like Captain. You catch Captain Kirk, Captain Picard, and Captain Starchild.
Yeah. hmm So, how's everybody doing?
Hey, man, I was good, man. I'm bummed out that you don't like the captain thing no more. So
Never did, man. That's, but yeah, I'm gonna keep the energy at your level and be excited. So yeah, man, welcome back. It's been a minute, but here we are. So let's get it going. Gotta get one more announcement, and that is Kid.
Yeah, player number 3. It's your boy, Kid Dream. So before we jump into this bad boy, does anybody have a gaming moment that they want to talk about real quick?
Star, you got something, man?
Nah, it's just been Destiny 2, and that's I guess a way of just letting the audience know that for the time we've been gone, that's probably all that we did. For I did was Destiny 2. So no moments, a lot of complaints, but no moments.
I'm
But
just glad it's not Overwatch 2. So
I
that's
would
an
have
improvement.
loved it to be Overwatch 2, but that would be more
Believe me, he's been
complaints.
trying.
I've
He's
been
been
trying.
trying.
Been trying.
I'm just glad it's not. That's a good thing. You leveled up a little bit. I'm proud of you.
Nice.
Yikes. What about you, BP?
So technically, it is going to be Stranded Deep. For those out there who don't know, I got a YouTube channel out there with my son. It's called Gotta Be Twigging Me. Shameless plug. So what happens is my son and I get on there and play games, various different games, and then my wife and I are actually playing this Stranded Deep game. So we do our little sessions together. But anyway, the gaming moment there was I almost got eaten by a shark, and I was all tough, like I'm gonna kill the shark, and that all went out the window when the shark was coming directly at me
Oh
at
God.
a very fast speed, like Jaws. And I started screaming like really bad, and so that was the moment. And you can hear my wife laughing really hard, a little too hard
Yeah,
during that
man,
whole
that's
time. So
I've listened to a couple of your actual channel postings, and I can honestly say that the organicness about your fear and how you actually screamed, I think a lot of people should hear that for themselves because it's entertaining, very entertaining.
I'm glad that you feel that way, and I'm sure others do, and that's wonderful. It doesn't do much great, good for me being a man and all, but hey,
Hey
I guess
man,
we all have our moments.
man can scream, sir. Don't put us in no pedestal where we can't have reactions to normal things now.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, we men have feelings. Hashtag men have feelings too. You're right. But it's just interesting when I'm talking that talk, and then
No, yeah, man. That's what
when it
makes it
comes
more
to it, I run.
entertaining.
Well, my wife would appreciate that commentary, sirs.
Of course, of course.
What about you, kid? What
Yeah,
any
yeah, kid. What's
gaming
up?
moments?
I actually do. To probably a lot of people's disappointment. Uh, in the new patch that came out recently, but I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4. Been season 1 just came out like a week ago, last week. So been kind of running through that. Definitely still has its many issues. But the core gameplay loop is has been really fun and interesting. So just been kind of having a blast with that,
Okay.
getting that out the way.
Nice, nice.
Are we going to be discussing some of those issues that happened with the update?
Ooh, good question.
You know, I guess we can. I guess we can
I
just
mean,
kind of
Oh, jump right
jump
into it, huh?
into it. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
might as well.
All
No
right.
need to dilly dally, as the kids say these days.
Not
dilly
dilly
dally. No
dally.
one, no kid
I
saying that.
at all,
No.
man. That's how surprising that is to hear kids say that.
Yeah.
That's
Kid,
crazy,
you need to
man.
change your name to old man. No, I don't know, man.
Nah,
Dang.
that's
Well,
I mean,
well, okay.
he does make a compelling point, but we'll see where this goes.
So, to kind of bring everybody up to speed real quick, essentially what happened. Uh, Diablo 4 recently came out beginning of June, I think it was. And people were having a lot of fun with it, playing it. But of course, people always find the most meta, the best build, the most optimal build, and so of course people were making videos and people had their own builds and everything like that. Well, right before season 1 came out, the developers put out a patch. And to a lot, the patch kind of killed the game. What it did was it nerfed just about every single thing in the game. I mean, I'm talking about from specific classes and abilities and skills to just overall like critical strike damage and like vulnerable damage. So it just made the game more difficult because you're doing less damage, but then you don't have as much survivability because other things are nerfed as well. So then you're also dying quicker.
Mm.
So it kind of destroyed to a lot of people the fun element of the game. And I think what we kind of want to talk about is just why would developers put out a patch like that? Like, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's your
And to,
take on that? I mean,
well, to quickly add too, wasn't there an issue too that they didn't do the patch notes as well? So people kind of were blindsided about that, or did they have the patch notes when they did
Um,
it?
so I think the patch notes came out when the patch came out,
Oh,
and that
okay.
was that was something they were upset about. To add to more context, um, the patch I think it dropped on like a Tuesday, Wednesday. Season 1 dropped that Thursday that of the same week. But because the outrage was so massive, I think the patch dropped Wednesday, but because the outrage was so massive by the community, they had to have like an emergency live stream. They called
Saw
it
that too.
a campfire or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
That was funny.
they addressed a lot of criticism and feedback and everything. And to their credit, one of the things they did say was going forward, they will be more transparent when it comes to patches, and that
Hmm.
they will drop the patch note at least. I think the minimum they gave was like a week before, so people have time to kind of take that information in and adjust accordingly. So they did kind of address that little criticism, thankfully.
okay.
Okay. Well, we can definitely get in that live stream, but yeah, what's your thoughts overall, like in the beginning, kid, like when all that happened and transpired?
I was disappointed, because like I said, to me the core gameplay mechanics is fun. It's a fun ARPG. So I've just kind of had a blast just going through killing demons, just playing the game, getting loot and everything like that. It's just really satisfying and fun. Um, so I was a little disappointed when I saw the patch kind of drop and it kind of lowered everything. Um, I guess to me, I'm trying to be more hopeful because I know things can always be reversed. You know what I mean? That's the good thing about patches and these newer games that are, online and everything like that. Just because it is this way today doesn't mean it'll be that way tomorrow. And they already are talking about making changes and fixes and stuff like that. And so it might unfortunately take some time, but I think the game will be in a better spot. It's just gonna take them doing a little bit of fixing after they messed it up to begin with.
Hmm.
All right, keep the optimism going. I like that.
And I guess because they admitted to it too as well, that kind of lends more to that, right?
Yeah, I think it was a good idea. They had that live stream like a day or two later. Like I did like that. So many other companies would have just shut up and turned off their social medias for like the next couple of weeks, and you wouldn't have heard anything from them. So
Right.
it was nice to at least have that communication. And I will say, just in general, having a good line of communication between the developers and the gamers, I think it's a good idea. Um, because even if you mess something up, if you are communicating with people, people will give you that time to kind of fix it. Whereas if you leave us in the dark, we're gonna assume the worst and think like you're not doing anything, you're just abandoning the game, and we're gonna just stop playing, and it's gonna be a dead game.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So here's my question. So, and this is a question for anybody, I guess. If any of the audience members want to kind of chime in, I would love to see their feedback. But when a developer makes a game, is that game technically still the developer's game, or are they making a game that's going to just be fitted for just the gamers? Because I always felt like if the gamers have a expectation for how the game should be, that's one thing, but it's up to the developers to challenge the gamers. It's like their job is to keep you engaged. So if they make changes to the game that allows for you to have a different way to play or experience the game, I don't think we should have to always just be upset. We have to probably look at it from the point of view like, okay, well, they are making the game challenging so that when I play this game, it doesn't feel like I'm just easily getting through things. Just like in life, like you don't want to just easily get things. It doesn't feel rewarding as much. So do you feel like they thought that they were making the game more rewarding because they saw people making these builds that made it to where they were just flying through everything?
And that's a really good question and good thing you bring up. Uh, I think they were looking at people kind of having these meta builds. And so here was their thought process. This is what they said. Basically, their whole core philosophy when it comes to the game is they don't want one playstyle to be the best way. They don't want one build to be at the top. They want a variety of different builds and playstyles, which I like that idea. I think that's um, a very bold and great idea to have. It's boring to say, "Oh, you want to play the necromancer class? Well, you can only use this build if you want to be good at that
Hmm.
class." Like that's boring. When there's something the game does well is there is a bunch of different builds that you can kind of do. And so I like their idea. The problem was the execution. They kind of basically all they did was nerf things, which is understandable because some things might have been overtuned or something, but I would have preferred to see an approach where maybe you say, okay, these builds are at the top. Let's either bring them down a little or let's leave them alone. But the other builds that people aren't using, let's buff them up. Let's make
Hmm.
them so good that people want to start using them as well. Don't look at nerfs all the time. Look at buffing up other things to make other playstyles better. You know what I mean? Because that's could be a lot more rewarding than just saying, "Hey, everybody's weaker now because we said so."
Would it be still a game breaker if you have now more options to basically break the game since everybody is technically meta based now, but they are just using the top of the top settings that makes their characters just OP? Like I think the nerfing was because of that. So that's why they was like, okay, we're just gonna have to make it to where we are slowing you down a little bit in the game because we want you to play this game a lot longer. Because you're gonna get burnt out pretty soon being just always great at every single thing you do in the game. Like where's the challenge?
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a good point. And it's definitely a tightrope that they have to walk very, very carefully because you don't want to just make everything overpowered because you do want that challenge. You do want um, to feel like you're actually having to put in effort and work and not just pushing a button and everything's dead.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think they could have done it a little bit better because if you look at the patch notes, the way they nerf something and then the way they buff something were not the same. You would get a nerf of like 60%,
Mm.
40%, like a major nerf. But then anything they did buff, yeah, 2%. Yeah, you get the cooldown was reduced by 1 second. It's like, what is that gonna do? I mean, it's a buff, but it's barely a buff. So
Yeah,
I just feel like the proportions weren't the same. You know, a nerf being 60%, but then a buff being 10%. It
yeah,
doesn't really equal out. You know.
No, I
right.
get that. Yeah. Nobody be.
And well, yeah, I mean, I got a lot that I want to say, but I'm trying to condense it in my head, so it's a little challenging. I'll say this.
Say it.
For one, let me just confirm it is a live service game. Is that correct?
Correct.
So with live service games, it typically means we will get updates. We'll get additions down the road. Like DLC, things of that nature, right?
So, just real quick, from what we have seen and heard from them so far, what we're
Mhm.
getting is the seasonal updates, which we will get a new season um, every 3 months. So we're going to get 4 seasons a year, kind of like real life seasons. But
Nice. Okay, so every quarter, pretty much.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And so far, those seasons will be free.
Okay. So what I'm gonna say in regards to that, and it's gonna be kind of a response to what Star Child was saying as far as the developers and the difficulty part and trying to make the game challenging. Because
Mhm.
I can say that while I do agree somewhat with that to an extent, maybe not as strong as maybe how you're presenting it. I still want us to, and when I say us, I mean gamers as a whole, just to kind of understand that at the end of the day, games are meant to be fun. Like not everything
Yes.
is really meant to be like a Souls-like game or like the most, God-fearing, challenging thing you've ever come across in your entire life. Some people just want it as a stress relief. If you want to feel like an OP god because you put in the time to grind and make these builds of yours to, you know, crush, crush the what do you call it? The
God.
enemies and bosses, then hey, I mean
Mhm.
that should be your prerogative. So, I mean, it. That's what I guess that's my main point is just to kind of have it to where we don't forget that aspect of it. Just the fact that there are just a lot of people who just want to get in there and have fun with the things they put together, and so that's why you can kind of see a lot of times they get very disappointed and upset by that because they're like, man, I put in time. You got people who put in hours at a time to do this stuff, because they're really that serious about a game that they love passionately, and then they come along and they do like a nerf that completely just decimates it all. And why you get some people that, yeah, some players that'll say, well, whatever, I'll take that as in stride and go back to the drawing board and have no problem. There are others who just really don't have that time or who really don't have that kind of energy because all they want at
Yeah.
the end of the day was just to feel like that godlike power or whatever, the case may be. So, yeah, I mean, to Kid's point, it's a balancing act for sure. I just kind of think that I don't know if it's just a wave that developers are on when they see all these other games out there that are challenging and getting the attention they get and say, oh, yeah, our game has to be that way too, because we have to justify like repeat people coming back. But I just feel like as long as the game's fun, as long as if it's live service and indeed what Kid was saying, they're doing like the updates every quarter, that's your opportunity to then come out with like challenging things that kind of help offset some of those builds, you know, um, and just do it that way instead of kind of worrying about, well, what can we all nerf in the ground because we want to create that challenge or that grind to keep people around. You know what I mean?
All right. So I
Absolutely.
can I can add. Because I think we probably want to move on to the next topic, but just to add to that,
Sure.
Destiny 2 had, Bungie had came out with their release about a statement. This is a couple years back, where
Hmm.
basically their their point of view on everything was the fact that they have so much work that they do on their end that as a
Sure.
gamer we don't ever get to appreciate. We don't
Hmm.
really see all the headache and the designs and the sacrifice they're doing on their end. So they
Right.
release a patch or a game that they on their end thinks, oh, it should take a person maybe a good 2 weeks to grind and get to this level, and then it can probably take about another 2 weeks to get to this level. And they basically want it to where the game can basically survive for the player base for at least a good month to 2 months. But some people can just find these loopholes. and they make their characters so OP and then post these videos online to teach others how to make these characters OP. And they running through these games within the first 2 days. And so now this game that was designed to at least last a month, everybody did everything within the last 3 or 4 days. And so now people getting bored because there's no challenge anymore. So for the developer, they're like, we can't just keep sacrificing and creating and putting all this man hours, man and women hours into making these games just for they to get easily defeated in these games or defeating these bosses and these challenges just in 48 hours. So like like what does a gamer not gamer, what does a developer do? Like they just gonna keep burning, the candle and just keep making more and more DLCs to come out just to satisfy, the audience or the gamers, or they just have to work with what they already created and just slow down the progress so that you don't feel like you're running through these games that take so many hours to make.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's
that
the go ahead. I'm sorry, kid.
you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna just ramble a little bit, honestly, but
Ah.
yeah, I know, right? No, but I mean, because like I honestly respect everything, Star, what you're saying. Like I really do, and you illustrate a great point about the developers aspect of like they put in a whole lot of time and effort into it, and again, maybe it doesn't, to some of them it will affect them really bad, where they see like a YouTuber or top YouTuber go in and be like, oh wait a minute, they crushed this thing in 5 minutes. This thing was supposed to be like a 30-minute run or an hour run, and they went in here and did it like it was nothing. So it could kind of be a little defeating. Um, but then I think too that you also have factors where even though you have those top YouTubers, not everybody's looking at those guys. Some people are just playing the game just to play the game. They don't care nothing about that stuff. So,
Mm.
sometimes when you do those things, it really ends up hurting the majority, in most cases, the majority of the other player base, because they're like, hey, we didn't ask for this. We were having fun the way it was. We were actually just struggling. I mean, getting by as it was. Like, imagine the player that's like, oh man, like I just spent like 40 minutes or an hour or 2 hours trying to get through this one mission. I finally did it. And now here comes the patch or the nerfs. And now what took them the hour or 2 hours now is going to be even longer. Now they're like, well, man, forget that. I mean, it was fun with me trying to get to a point of passing it the way I did. And now it's almost impossible now for me because you added all this extra stuff just to kind of offset the top players that are out there, doing videos saying, oh, look how easy this is. This is nothing, Bungie. Come on. Like, give me something harder. So, you know what I mean? It's like now it's all affected because of those individuals. So, that's kind of funny because that's like a whole another tough topic I want to talk
Yeah,
about
I
when it
would
came
say
to
that was
YouTubers.
yeah, we was gonna get into that next. Oh, well, not
Yeah.
next. We
So,
was gonna get into
well,
that. So
at some point, I mean, I don't even know if it's gonna be this episode, but I guess all that to say is like, you make great points, like for real, and I love the fact that you illustrated that developers do so much behind the scenes that people take for granted because it's true. It is very true. But I just kind of feel like, one of the things I learned in life is you just can't really you can develop expectations, but you can't anticipate everybody's reaction to what you do. You know what I mean? Like you can do the best you can, put it out there, and hope for things to work the way they are, but it may not necessarily go that way. And either you can kind of be sour about it and go about it and say, no, we're going to force this to be the way we want it to, the outcome to be the way we want it, or you could just kind of embrace it and kind of get in on the fun, and kind of get in with the community and say, oh yeah, you beat it in 5 minutes. I'm sure there's somebody else who can beat it in 3. You know what I mean? Like get in on the fun.
mhm.
So I don't know, like just kind of go along with you know the what really happens. I have no idea.
All right. Well,
I don't have the
all
answer.
right.
That's why I said it like that. I'll be honest.
Dang, you gotta have the answers, man. Come
You're
on,
right. You're right, man. But this is a tough one, man. That's testament to how tough this is. But anyway,
man.
kid, I feel like kind of took a lot of your time. So what you wanted to say?
No, it's all good. I just to just briefly touch on what Star said. That is a problem when it comes to the whole timing of it, because yeah, they designed this content and they're probably thinking that it's going to take players X amount of weeks, X amount of months to get through all this content, but you do have people who just blitz through it, so it is kind of an issue, and it could be a big reason why they try to slow things down a lot more. Do these nerfs, do these XP nerfs and everything like that. They kind of slow people down, so you're not running through that content in a day. because it's going to take them months to make even a small fraction of more content. So,
Yeah, man. That's why they put fluoride in the water. They gotta slow us down. I mean, come
oh
on.
boy.
And one thing, real quick, I'll add to that. Like, I think part of that too, it helps me. Well, not helps me, but what kind of keeps me from really going more into what y'all saying with that is, at the end of the day, these guys still work for these publishers, and majority of those publishers out there have nefarious, like,
Yes.
ambitions behind what the decisions they're making. So, like, what most people may look at as developers doing the grind just to kind of, quote unquote, keep players from demolishing their stuff that they come out with, or that they develop and put out there. It could be more so the publishers are saying, it's like, hey man, like, what's gonna keep the retention of these players around to where they want to spend money, or you want to like do, like, what do they call those things, like the when you buy like the, oh gosh, I can't remember it, the when you kind of can buy your way up, like the level up and stuff like that, take the shortcut. I forgot what they call that.
Oh, I know those upgrades you can purchase. I know what you mean. I think the
It's
audience
like
know what you
XP
mean.
boosters or something like
Yeah.
that, something like
Yeah.
that. So
To speed it up. Yeah.
yeah, so that's the only way I. That's another thing I kind of look at too. Like, how much is this really the developers? Like, maybe it's because is it publishers that's kind of going in and saying all this, and they just have to kind of put their own statement out to say, oh no, guys, well, this is how it's got to be, and it's really the publishers behind the scenes telling them, hey man, y'all need to figure something out because this is ridiculous.
I think that when it comes to the publishers, though, you gotta look at it from their point of view. They are the ones that have to try to make sense of the expense. So
Yeah.
from their angle, they have to also be like, hey, our company can flop tomorrow if we don't figure out how we can continue our cash flow. So they're not evil, they're not technically they just have to
Uh-oh.
make it. I mean, I'm being devil's advocate right now because I can
I
come
see
up with
that.
many
Yeah, you're doing a
complaints.
great job.
I can do many complaints too, but just give some of them their due because if it wasn't for the publishers and of course allow them to get too greedy, but there won't be the type of industry that we have today where you can see the potential where the gaming industry can go because someone had to make some of those decisions that again from a business standpoint looks great but from a gamer standpoint looks horrible, but those decisions allow for the industry to grow and the industry has became immensely big because of some of those decisions. And I think that if it wasn't for those publishers, will we still have games today? So gotta kind of trust them on some of their decision making too. It's the devil's advocate way of saying things. Ugh,
Yeah, that
I
word
need to take a
trust too.
bath after this, man.
Yeah, man. I
Mm,
was like,
nice.
yeah, you
Yeah.
might need to go ahead and do that, man, because that word trust thrown in there. Ooh, man, that got me, man.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
feel
yeah, man,
dirty,
you're right.
man. I
You're
feel
but
dirty.
you're right, man. If it wasn't for the publishers, they wouldn't have been able to advance the gaming world forward, like into microtransactions and stuff. So you're right. You're right, man. We would never have that, man. So big shout out to them for that.
Yeah, man, gotta get the stocks looking great too, so they can
Sure,
still
man.
stay around, man.
Yeah, to a bunch of people who own the stocks and don't even know
Sega,
nothing about games. They just know it's gonna
yeah,
make money. So
yeah.
you're right. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's cool. Cool.
You
All right.
know, I'm glad you bring up publishers because one of your favorite publishers really pissed me off the other day.
Oh, can't wait to hear this.
So, Spider-Man 2 is coming out pretty soon, and I am incredibly excited for that. Actually,
Yay, yay.
low key,
Matter of fact,
it
can we
kind
get
of.
a clap for that, man? Hold on. I think I got a
Oh
clap or
yeah.
something.
All right, go ahead. There we go.
Oh,
There
that's
we
kind of
go.
weak. I want something better than that. But anyway, yeah, that'll work right now.
So,
You want those
uh,
actual claps that happens on stage when people twerk?
Yeah,
That's
man, it's
not a
Spider-Man
good one to
and
go
two,
with.
and
I'm sorry.
it's
I'm sorry.
it's cool. I just ignored it, but no, just joking.
anyway, season 1 of Diablo ends right before Spider-Man 2 comes out, so it kind of works out perfect for me. But
Wonderful.
uh, Spider-Man 2 is coming out later this year. So to go along with that, Sony announced the special edition PS5, which is cool. If you looking to get a PS5, especially a Spider-Man one, could be phenomenal to get. But one of the big selling or a big selling feature of the PS5 that Sony kind of came out with way back when was going to be the interchangeable faceplate of the PS5. Um, Something that sounds incredible. I mean, to be able to buy a custom or even just a officially licensed faceplate to kind of customize your PlayStation, make it look a little bit cool. Because I mean, the white looks nice, but I want to look at something else eventually. So they have some faceplates to go along with it, as well as a custom controller as normal. Um, so that's a great thing, right? And we should be like congratulating them and excited and happy and like cool, a nice cool thing to look at and go buy, right, guys? Right?
Maybe you just sound like a setup, but okay.
Well, it would have been cool if they didn't sell out immediately.
Mhm.
It's like, did we not learn from the PS5? Because we sold out immediately, but oh, don't worry. Go to eBay and you'll find it for 2, 3 times the price.
Yep.
Like, I'm just irritated with not only the scalpers, but with Sony as well. It's like, did we not learn anything from the PS5?
Oh, they
Why are we
learned.
doing it like this?
They learned that they can sell out their product and they can care less how the actual consumer gets their hands on it.
Which is just despicable.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I think the faceplate itself is like $65. Personally, I think that's way too much money for a cover on your PlayStation. The controller is like $70, $80. How are you telling me a controller costs almost as much as some plastic to put on my PlayStation? I think they're overpriced to begin with. This should be a $20, $30 type product if we're being for real with each other.
Yeah,
But
man.
the fact that now I can't even just officially buy it from Sony anymore, I have to go buy it from some sketchy third party who's gonna overcharge the mess out of it. It's just insane.
Yeah, I agree. I don't
All
think
right, can
there's
y'all hear me?
anything that I can say. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay, now because the computer is acting up a little bit, so you kind of cut out a little bit. So I'm not sure if that's going to be affected in the recording. So just as a recap,
Oh,
you're just
man.
basically saying that there was little communication about the pre-order, right, with the faceplates and stuff.
I didn't even get to that, but yeah,
Oh,
I
okay, my bad, I jumped
didn't.
ahead.
No, you're fine. Yeah, but that is actually one of my complaints was that I saw that they were announced and I saw like a leak of when they were going to go live for pre-orders, but it completely slipped my mind and I didn't see anything official or anything from PlayStation. I had the app on my phone. I could have got a notification about a new product to purchase. Never got anything. So by the time I found out they went live, it was already a couple hours later, and we're sold out. So by the
Mm.
time I found out, it was already too late to go buy one. Again, not that it probably would have mattered since they sold out pretty much immediately.
Dang.
The
Well,
bots purchased it, not saying it's sold out because people actually got their hands on it. Yeah, it's like you said, they haven't learned from the PS5. So when we couldn't get any PS5s because the bots was purchasing everything when those things go live in the stores or online. So
Glenn.
all right. Well, first things first. We're gonna have to give it up for Spider-Man 2 again, guys. I mean,
Okay.
mm,
that's first and foremost. That's because it's Spider-Man head over here. All
All
right,
right.
and now the second thing to address is I'm really actually sad that I knew nothing about this pre-order stuff, like at all. And yeah, so really sad. I think I got a sad horn in here too. Yeah, so
You're just having too
yikes,
much
that's
fun
what's
with
up,
yikes!
that.
You
man.
you
Yeah,
you need
I
to
am,
put the
man.
soundboard
Yeah,
away, sir.
I'm sorry, man. I'm just saying I'm in my feelings right now, Spider-Man. So anyway, but to kids' point, I mean, I can see how that would be very frustrating all overall. And like you said, now the price is going to be ridiculous. If you're wanting to try to get your hands on it. Now, let me ask you this: you might have said this too, because again, like I said, you were kind of cutting in and out. But
Mhm.
with it being sold out, is this one of those things where it's kind of like a limited edition type of time period where you could have only got it around that time, and that's like it. Like if like in other words, it's sold out now, and there's not gonna be a chance down the road where you can get this.
I believe so. Somebody
Okay.
asked Insomniac on Twitter, and the official Twitter page did respond because the question was like, "Are you guys going to restock this or resupply it or whatever?" And their response was, "We don't believe so,"
Don't believe so. Mm.
which is also a weird question. It's like it's the official Insomniac Twitter. Why don't you have a straight yes or no answer? Like, are you going to make more or not? Like, what? Like,
Well,
don't
if
answer the
it's
question then if you don't
what
know
if it
the
was a
answer.
I would say, what if it was a legal response? Because there might be options that they are working on behind the scenes, but they can't talk on it publicly, like at this moment.
Or they could just be trying to keep the demand up high.
I mean,
Could
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Yeah, that's another tactic that companies do. It's like, yeah, we don't know. Just stay tuned. We might not. You should have got in on it. Maybe we might be able to come up with something later. And of course, that builds up anticipation. And oh, we got a short window, guys. Like a few more copies. Come get it now. It's like kind of guaranteed sellouts right there.
And
yeah.
I think retailers are gonna get some stock. So I think this is all just exclusively through Sony. So I think the different, your Walmart and stuff like that, GameStops, I think are gonna stock it at some point in time. So there
Word.
might be another chance to kind of purchase it. So I'm
Mm.
still holding out some hope, but it's just the overall process, man. Like it kind of reminds me of the whole Nintendo mindset where it's like, hey,
Uh-oh.
we have 100 people that want this product. Yeah, we're only gonna make 10. We're just gonna make 10 of them. We know they're all gonna sell. We know people want it. Don't get me wrong. We know y'all want this. We're just gonna make 10.
All right, so instead of
Why?
just here's my thing, you're bringing up Nintendo. Now, mind you, now Nintendo did
Kid, you
no
don't know
wrong
what you
so
did.
far.
See? Ooh,
Nintendo
wee.
done no wrong, so
You.
give us an
Ooh.
example of when Nintendo did exactly what you're saying. I just want some type of reference point.
The um Super SNES, the little retro box that they made a couple years
Hmm.
ago.
Uh-huh.
Those things were super popular. Everybody wanted one, couldn't find one. They were sold out.
Well, here's the thing. Nintendo is a toy maker, and they made a limited edition of something. So it's not like if you make a lot of something, it becomes a value down the line. You make a limited amount so that it can hold its value. So they made the decision correctly. It was one of those things where if you purchase it, you're guaranteed to have some type of product that's going to be worth a lot down the line because it was
But
giving a limited manufacturing. Like it's
you can't
limited.
you can't purchase something if it's not available. That's the
I
problem
mean,
though.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but that product alone was not meant to be mass produced. It just wasn't. It was never even sold to be like it wasn't even advertised to being mass produced. Like it was going to be limited.
Man, where's
But
my popcorn and tea? This is great,
Popcorn
man.
tea.
God,
but
man, I
it,
don't have that on me right now.
Hey man,
but
I'm
here,
just saying, man. We can't keep throwing Nintendo under the bus on this show, man, because we want them as the main sponsor. I'm just saying,
Sir, I take offense to that. We throw everybody under the bus.
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Not
Yeah,
except for
everybody can
Nintendo,
get it.
man. Nintendo be
But
listening. We love you.
No, Nintendo can definitely get it, but
We love you,
we'll get into that
Nintendo.
later on. Oh,
Yeah.
we
but
love you.
here,
Oh, is this your play of trying to
oh
get some
god.
endorse? Okay, I see. I see the plan. I see the
Thank
plan,
you.
Cap.
Thank you. See the plan now? Cool. All
I
right.
see the plan. I see the plan, man.
But see, Star, to go along with your point, it only works if they say it. Who who defines limited edition? Why does it have to be limited edition? These are massive companies. You know what I mean? You can hire people who can help predict the demand that you guys are forecasting. It's not like either of these companies are brand new to this whole game. They've been in the industry for literal decades. They can get analysts to help figure out demand numbers. It's not like they're just gonna make so many that they just have factories and the factories of these games. It's not gonna be like that.
I
They
think they
can figure
wanted
out how many people.
I think they want it to have a value down the line. So I don't think this was again, I don't know if that product alone was going to make them a profit. More so it was just so that they did something for the passionate people or fans of Nintendo who wanted that product. It's just like, hey, once you get your hands on this, if you can get your hands on this,
Exactly.
this product is going to have a value. It's limited. It's just because it's limited. It's not like they wanted it to be mass produced to have a profit. It was not about that. Some companies just do things like that. Like even if you buy a game today, they have different types of tiers to the game. One game might be the normal 70, the next game might have come to DLC. That'd be like a $90 game. Then the other games that's going to be $100. That one comes with this other item that's limited, so that it makes
But
that
see,
product slightly more of a value. So
but see, I would agree with you 100% all the way, right? If there wasn't this one small hiccup, and that's
Mhm.
scalpers.
I mean,
If
yeah,
if it
yeah,
if it was only the dedicated people buying the product, fine, by all means. I could agree with you. I could say, all right, they wanted something limited. Fine, it is what it is. There's a lot of dedicated people, and they got it before me. Whatever. And then I would agree with you. But the problem is, that's not what's going on. It's not these dedicated fans. It's not the people who really love and care about these franchises. It's people who are only in it to make a buck. So they create these bots. They buy these bots. They buy up all the quantity, and then they just resell it. So
yeah.
they make money off of these other companies back. And it's like it's not right. It's not.
I
It's
agree.
just
It's
awful.
So we need to talk to Congress, is what you're saying. Nintendo, you did great. We're not bothered by you
Oh
making
no,
a
Nintendo
product.
definitely did it wrong.
No, no, no. The Congress, the governments around the world, everybody needs to come up with legislation so that they can work on these scalpers because they are the ones that's technically robbing the consumers.
But
So
see,
yeah,
I don't even really want government regulation when it comes to this.
see,
Here's the thing,
hmm
right? Here's the thing, right? You don't want to make too many. You want to make sure you have just enough so you just don't have factories with the product just sitting there. Put out the pre-order months in advance. This could have came out 6 months ago, and you could have said, "Hey, look, this is coming out. If you want it, you either have to give us a deposit, let's say 10, $20, so you only have actual people who want it, right? You got to put some money up front, or even just I would have paid for the whole thing. Just say, hey, pay us the whole thing right now, and then you know how many people want this item ahead of time. So now you have the actual demand numbers, and you can
it
go and you can make that quantity
See, you
and
keep
then
missing the
produce it.
point. It's not a mass-produced product. This was limited. They don't care about how many people wanted it. They came up with a number that will allow for this value of this product to stand the test of times. Like in the down the line, this product will grow in value because of its limited quantity. So this was planned to be limited. Like it wasn't planned to say we need to make enough of this for everybody who wants one. No, they said this is what we need to create to be able to guarantee those who purchase it to have a value down the line. That was a decision they decided to make for a lot of those things. And I don't have to, or you or me don't have to agree with that. But for those who were able to get their hands on it, they have a product now that is guaranteed to hold value.
If only they had the product and not the scalpers.
But the scalpers want to get their hands and they want to get their money too. So they're gonna still sell it. They're not holding just to hold it. They're gonna put a crazy
Oh,
price
no,
on it.
no, I hope
Yeah.
they do hold on to it. I hope nobody buys it. No, I hope they lose all their money. No, no, I hope they
Mm.
hold on to all that inventory and just sitting there until they have to sell it for a loss. That's what I hope.
I hope but they're not gonna sell for the loss. I think they really did got it for the
Oh,
normal
whoa,
price. They
oh,
got it
no,
for the
no,
normal
no, no,
price.
no.
So
They might, because they had to with PS5s. They bought all
mm,
those PS5s, and it after a while, when Sony was finally able to produce or at least release more of those PS5s into the wild, scalpers had to start selling them for a loss.
yeah, yeah. It equals out. But again, I think governments, like you said, you don't want any type of government hands in this, but I think there should be something to allow for some, some what's the word I want to use on this? Legal action, so you can sue some of these people and these bots that use these bots, so we can have a avenue legally to be able to do something to protect ourselves. Because you think the consumer uh, agencies around the world would all be looking at this as, hey, how can we help? But as of right now, the gaming industry and the lobbyists, they are not looking to protect the consumers because why should they at the moment? It's all about money. So,
Long story short, I wanted a cover and I don't have one. I'm pissed.
well, BP, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just had to get my tinfoil hat real quick.
Oh,
So while y'all were talking. But hey, y'all ready for me to hit y'all with some truth that y'all might not want to hear?
no, I love to hear truth.
Corporate's gonna corporate. They don't. I can assure you that the only value Nintendo cares about is their trademark. That whole concept of creating a limited time that boosts the value up. They don't care nothing about that. They care about the hype. They care about getting people to want to go crazy to buy their stuff. And they want to be able to dictate and control, kind of like Disney did back in the days with the limited vault releases. And that's essentially it. I mean, because again, when you look at like game preservation, Nintendo don't care nothing about that. But to be fair, none of the companies
Sure
really care
don't.
too much about that. The only thing they care about is, hey, we have the rights to it. It sucks to be you if you want it that bad. Hang out for about another year or two when we decide that we want to visit that idea, and maybe buy it for like $100 when we do decide to release it. The ultimate mega, super ultra hype version of it whenever we decide to release it. So,
And that is exactly why Nintendo will always have a piracy and emulator problem.
yep.
All right. I
So,
won't even
but I
try
mean,
to
at the end of
touch
the
that.
day,
I won't
yeah,
touch
I just say
that.
at the end of the day because it's a corporation. Like it's not an actual person. The whole point, because what's the whole point of a corporation? Let's be honest.
I would think that the whole purpose of corporation to add some organization to the actual company so they can actually save and not just lose money in every single facet of their production. They have to have some type of organization. So I'm not going to call them the bad guy because they're a corporation. I mean,
It's not about
You,
bad guy,
you were close.
because yeah, I was gonna say like at the end of the day, just to shorten up Star Child's response there, it's money. The corporation's goal is to make money, regardless of however you look at it. Their
Dollar
goal is
dollar
to make
bills.
money.
to
Yeah, so they're
save
gonna
to
have and
save
they're gonna
money
have
and make money. You gotta
No,
save
not
money
to
and
make
save,
money is the bigger
to
thing,
make money because
because I
they
guarantee
ain't
you
worried
if they
about saving when it
uh,
comes to the bonuses for the CEOs. They ain't worried about saving
oh
money
yeah,
then.
no, definitely not. But
It's about
at the end of the
making
day,
money.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's always gonna be making money as a priority. Yeah, they definitely want to save money, sure, if they can cut corners, they'll do that too. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, that the goal is always to make the money. So that's the main thing.
One
But
more
yeah,
thing to say
so
about Nintendo. I just want to
yeah,
just throw this out here because again, Nintendo, we love you. The last thing I need to say about Nintendo is this. It's not just that they're a corporation. Nintendo themselves have a actual standard, and they live by the standard for a very long time with their company. They stick by a certain code, and their code has always been to always innovate and make something new. They
to
don't
make
like
money.
go. No, no, no. Truly,
Yeah,
truly,
to
that
make
is
money.
their well, regardless, they don't like going back and rehashing old things. So when they did this little thing for the fans, it was supposed to be limited. It was only to be limited. They're not making renewed virtual boys, not making renewed Game Boys, not making renewed. No, they did this because they saw this nostalgic moment happening in their fan base. Because
And
these
to capitalize
kids,
on it.
yeah, well, not even capitalized. These fans asked for this. They wanted
And they're
this.
capitalizing on it. Because again, if they couldn't capitalize it, you think they would do it? Honest answer.
Well, it's not about capitalizing. If
Yeah, you're a
you're
corporation. It is
if you
capitalization.
but if you're responding to your fans while making them a product, that's you responding to the fans. But at the
But
same
not
time, you as a corporation, you still have to work out the logistics of it. I mean, by
but
all
not
You
means.
do, but
but it wasn't for
again,
free.
if exactly at the end of the day, even if let's just say for the sake of argument that everybody, I don't know, like the gaming company wanted Contra or something, like if Nintendo still had that or whatever, uh, and Nintendo looked at that and said, we could do that. That'd be a great thing for the fan base, but man, we would lose so much money if we even put the time, not the money, not to mention money, but the time and effort that we would have to put aside in making new stuff. We would have to do all that. So at the end of the day, we're just not going to do that because we don't have anything to gain from that stuff. And at the end of the day, even if you want to make the argument of goodwill, they don't feel they need it because it's Nintendo. They're going to always have people that are fans of them around that's going to just buy whatever they put out. So they don't need that stuff. So again, at the end of the day, they're only going to do things if it makes sense to them to make the most money from it. If it's not going to make money, they're not going to do it.
All
I can
right.
tell you
Well,
that
I can use an
100%.
example of how that argument can be broken with the Smash Brothers. For a
That
lot
lost
of the
money.
a lot of the licenses that they had to work out with agreements to get a lot of those characters into that game would have actually broke the budget of that game. But they did a lot of negotiations and a lot of passion because of them being lovers of the gaming industry and some of these characters and passionate for the fans. That game came together because of nothing of corporate, but everything from just the passion and the love of the game. So yeah, these
On the
these
developer side,
developers
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
these
developer, but
developers are definitely able to still create something based on the passion and love from the fans. Like it can and has been done, and Nintendo is one of the main and very few companies that will put that out there for their fans and their consumers. We will still do something based on your love for it, not just because we want to capitalize. It's been done, and there's other examples I can give, but I know we may want to move on to another topic. I just don't want to just
I,
say
I don't know. I
everything
kind of like
is
this
just
topic.
painful. I mean, I just don't want to say that every corporation is evil or everything they do is all just about gaining of money. That's going to be the
But that's their sole
realistic.
function, I
Yeah, that's
guess.
going to be the
Honestly,
realistic look at why corporations are designed and why we have the CEOs, and again, why they get the money they get. That's a whole different conversation to have, because I think that is illegal, but that's a whole nother conversation. But in all that to say that there's still passion and there's still a love that's still surviving in the industry, and we don't want to just snuff that out because we are angry in the moment, because there's still something else that is allowing everything to stay afloat even with this greed, because there's more love than greed, and even though we don't see it because we are angry with some of the things that come down from the pipeline. A lot of these games are being developed out of the love of the industry of making games. These are people who grew up playing games. They want to make something fun. So yeah,
what
there's some evil that has to be, handshakes and things in the background, but there's still love in this in the industry.
well, just to be clear, the developer side, sure, there's plenty of love, and we've known that. That's never going to go away. But who, at the end of the day, who controls the developers? The corporation does.
And
Corporation ain't worried about love, bro. I'm trying to tell you, they
there's
do not
still
care about love. The developers care about love, sure. The corporation may care about it if the dollar signs are there, and they like, yeah, man, this passion to y'all are putting together a tremendous game, and this game could, like, based on our analysts, are saying could be making like in the millions. Hell, it might reach $1 billion. So sure, we'll do it. But at the end of the day, man, that's all they're worried about. They don't care about that stuff, man. Because you think those execs are playing these games like that, man, like that super passionate about it.
There are some execs in yes, and some companies definitely do, and there's ones who don't, and that's unfortunate.
So
You
yeah.
think Bobby playing Call of Duty?
I don't think so. That's the unfortunate. That's the unfortunate part. Yeah.
So, hey.
Yeah. Nah.
But yeah,
Nah.
to kids' point, I guess not having the plates are bad.
Oh,
That's where the conversation
absolutely
started.
bad. I'm irritated. I want to look at
Yikes.
something different, and I can't.
You know what you remind me of when you said it just now, man? You remind me of that Key and Peele skit, the Black Republicans.
Ah.
It's like, I am royally pissed.
Oh, I am.
That's what you sound like.
Yeah. And am I still gonna buy Spider-Man 2? Yeah, dang Skippy, I am. But am I gonna be upset that I don't have a matching controller and faceplate? Yeah, dang Skippy, I am.
Yeah,
can see
go
it.
on Etsy. I mean, you might find someone who can make those cover
Oh,
plates even better.
but that is a great thing you just mentioned. But again, these corporations are so evil and and
Conniving.
just conniving. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. That Sony has been attacking third-party faceplate developers and suing them. So you cannot have any, and you can only have the official ones licensed by Sony. Oh, but guess what? They're sold out immediately. Yay, capitalism. I love it.
Well,
You don't get a choice, and the choice that you do get, you don't even have an option for it.
I'm
Phenomenal.
I'm not sure.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they can go after people who are just making
It's a pat.
designs off of
It's
Nintendo
characters and
does it.
stuff.
it's a patent.
I'm about to say
The
Nintendo
The
does it.
the whole
the character. No, I've seen some SD products being sold with Nintendo's characters that Nintendo ain't going after them. So
Oh, not
I'm just
now, but once
yeah.
they catch wind of it, if it gets popular enough, yeah, they'll go after him.
Oh man, there's a bunch out there, especially with Zeldas. I mean, and Links, and
but
yeah,
they will.
Nintendo. If
They
Nintendo
will.
knows,
They'll get
they
around
ain't
to it.
touching it.
They'll
So
get
it's
around to
it's
it.
been years now, so they taking their slow time.
Hey man, there
But
were ROMs out for years and on end, and Nintendo finally shut those down.
oh no,
So
ROMs is different. Like you're actually now taking an IP. You're really changing a game. That's a whole different thing. I'm talking about just the character designs and creating
But
your
you're
own artwork for those designs. That's that's not something that's fair
so we're
use at that
so we're
point. I
not so we're
think.
gonna just pretend
but
like that whole thing didn't happen with the controller. What was that controller thing, kid?
Hmm?
With that
with
person that
Etika?
yeah, we're gonna pretend like
Yeah.
that never
Well,
happened.
again, hold on. That was a whole controller. That wasn't a cover.
Yeah, but I mean, but still, it's just like
No, no,
I
no.
thought that
Hold
was a
on.
cover. Am
No,
I?
no. Nintendo
You
have
sure it
ways
wasn't
of
a?
changing. Yeah, Nintendo have a way of
You sure
changing
it
the
wasn't a
covers. It
just a
was a
cover?
controller. It was the controllers.
Thought, huh?
Yeah, they
That's
purchased the
interesting. I have to
controllers
research
and they
that some more.
changed. Yeah, they purchased the controllers and changed things up on it. But if you're changing just a cover and putting your own art on there, I mean that should be fair use. I don't know if they can really go after somebody on that.
Hey man,
what if I don't want
we know that fair use doesn't. It's not always uniform.
but
Oh,
what
It's
if
you
I
know.
don't
always
want
Hmm?
my own art? I want Spider-Man art.
Oh,
I
you can
want
draw Spider-Man, or you can get someone to draw Spider-Man for you because it's fair use. You're using a character that's public in public domain, and you can change that character in some form or way where it is now your design. It's fair use.
but I don't want a fair use Spider-Man. I want the Spider-Man. I want
You
the
want you
controller. I
want the
want the
official one.
faceplate.
That's why it's
Yes.
official. That's I get that. I get that. I
I,
get
w-
that.
I w- I want that specific thing. And then even then, a lot of times that comes out to be more expensive depending on who you go to and what exactly you get. It could be
Yeah.
more expensive.
It might be a better product too, but I'm just saying.
Potentially. Potentially. But
Mhm. Well,
that's what happened.
any more topics instead of bashing Nintendo? Yeah.
Well, we can keep
Hey man,
bashing
I'm just getting
Nintendo.
started. Hey, actually, what I was thinking, like, since you're so upset, kid, you want to hear some, I guess, potentially good news about something against Sony?
All right, what's that?
Let's like, I'd say something like karma that Sony had to face.
Is it with Xbox or what?
Pretty much, yeah, the whole Microsoft Activision deal. I
How
thought
they
that'd bring a smile to
lost?
your face. Oh, how they lost, and not only did they lose, but apparently they are out of, I guess, potential chances of getting other, Xbox games. Like, because I think my understanding is they only have the access to 10-year access to Call of Duty, but I think that should be it. I don't think they have. Yeah, they pretty much shot themselves in the foot. They were slated to get other games
Yeah,
from, yeah, and now it's because they went through all that drama.
that's that's actually hilarious because yeah, they
That
were
was super
crying wolf
hilarious.
for so long about Call of Duty, Call of Duty. It's
hmm And then have had
yeah,
them come down and be like, actually, Microsoft, we, look, we was playing, right? That deal still on the table, Call of Duty? Yeah, that's
which
pretty hilarious.
I was happy that the Xbox won their case against the FTC. I don't know if you saw it. I saw some clips where the judge or whoever they were giving the the leader of the FTC. I don't know what their position would be called, um, but whatever her name was, they were roasting her like the judge. They were basically saying like as the FTC, you're supposed to be looking out for the consumer and protecting the consumers, but all you've been doing is protecting Sony and trying to help them out. Like that's not what you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be doing. And then apparently, like
Mm-hmm.
I guess she was like blaming her subordinates on like some issues or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
saying it was their fault and all this, that, and the third. And the judge was like, the fact that you're blaming them and saying it was them is just awful. You're supposed to take accountability and responsibility. You're the leader, and you're just throwing them under the bus. Like it was nice to kind of see that. I was like, hey, but yeah, I'm glad that finally we're getting somewhere with this whole Xbox Activision deal, and they finally won the FTC, and things are looking pretty well. There's still some things that could go
Hurdles here, yeah,
wrong. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Um, honestly, man, I, I'm just ready to see what this means for Xbox and more specifically Game Pass, man. Honestly,
True. That is very, very, very good point. And I've been actually eagerly waiting to see how that's going to develop too. Because
because they have so many games and like uh I'm just like, how are they? How are they going to handle this and do this? And then not only that,
mhm.
I, I was reminded by a video not so long ago. Activision has a lot of IPs that they just don't do anything with nowadays.
Yeah, very true.
So
Very
it
true.
would
It's
be
been kind of a
cool to yeah, it'd be cool to just kind of see like now with Xbox maybe see those IPs can kind of get a second wind and maybe we can get something from them again. Even if it's just a remake or just not even a remake, but just putting it on next gen systems and everything like that. Because I don't know how easy it is for these games to run on newer systems and stuff.
right. Yeah, that should be pretty exciting to see, man. Yeah, I'm definitely eager to see that because one would think that them buying all these IPs or companies to get these IPs, would mean that there's something cooking down the road. So,
Not really.
because
You just
well,
finished.
that's
You
a
just
good
finished
that might
saying
happen too.
corporations, man. You just said you just finished talking about what
Well, but you
corporations
got to
do.
think they invested all that again to the point of investing the money. Like they're not going to do that if they didn't feel like there was some means of making that money back. You know what I mean? Like,
Sometimes
Game
they just got the money just to stop a threat.
well, to
I
that point, they did make a
mean,
statement saying that what was the reason they bought it because they said that Sony was plotting on getting
yes,
Oh,
what was it,
Starfield. Yeah,
Starfield to make it
yes,
exclusive on their system. So,
yeah.
these corporations, like you just said, they can be
so you
evil.
see how
I
quickly
mean,
he's ready to do this when it's Sony.
let me clarify. Let me
Oh,
clarify.
man.
Hold on. Let me clarify. I'm using
Yeah,
your
go ahead.
words, not my words. I'm
Yeah,
not
but I'm
taking
just
a
saying you
stance.
jump. Yeah.
I'm just
Oh no,
taking
no, I
your
didn't say
words
that.
and using your words. So how will
Yeah.
you applaud one company for a evil tactic, but then look at it from a different lens? But yet, versus with a Nintendo, you have no other actual lens but the evil lens. I'm just saying that we have to be bipartisan.
Well, number one, I never said Nintendo was evil. I
Well, the
never said that.
corporations. So you were saying,
I never said corporations evil. I just said their whole focus is money. So they don't care nothing
well,
about all the other stuff about, oh, what could be great for our fans and what
okay.
this creating this high value or a fan could be so happy that his game is now 100K. They don't care about that.
I kind of swore you said
They don't care
evil.
about
I
none of
mean,
that.
maybe not. Maybe not. I
No,
may have been
no.
using evil
I
for no
might have
reason.
talked about it in a tone that made them sound evil,
Oh,
but at the
okay.
end of the day, they're just trying to make money because it's a corporation, it's not a person.
Okay. All right. All
I
right.
mean, you do, although you do have, listen, let me be clear, you do have evil people at the helms of
Oh,
these
yeah.
corporations, so let me not
Oh, yeah.
skirt past that. But overall, the corporation itself, it's not like money. It's like in my opinion, I don't think money really is evil. I think that that's going to be a whole nother discussion for a different time. But the idea and root of money is really not evil. It's just what people do with it, or
Yeah.
what they can do with it. That's the end of the day, and it's the same thing in corporation. There are great, actual good corporations out there, that actually take what they call a social, I don't really know the words for it, but it's like social responsibility, meaning that they operate on what's best for people as in general, as opposed to what's best for the shareholders.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
Exxon, who cares nothing but the environment. I
Jeez.
mean,
Exactly. So that's
So,
the kind of night and day with that. It's like, yeah, they're good corporations, but there are also ones that well, I don't want to say good corporations. There are corporations ran by good people, but then there are also some that are ran by bad people or nefarious people, I guess you want to put it there. But yeah, no, I mean, I
so
won't say Nintendo's evil. I'm just like, I just know at the end of the day that what they're trying to do is the profit part. Like they're just trying to say what's going to maximize our return. Like that's
yeah.
it. So
I will stand by my statement with this.
mhm.
If all the three companies currently that's still in the gaming industry for making consoles, Microsoft is evil, and I will back away.
wow.
I'll
Hold
back
on.
away.
So let me answer your question because there is a big distinction I want to kind of bring. And don't get me wrong, yeah, they're all evil. They all are doing nefarious things and all have hidden agendas and everything like that. Sony, Xbox, Nintendo, all of them. They're just, it is what it is. Uh, Here's what I would say that a big distinction comes in, and also just to quickly throw some shade to Xbox. They can be evil too. Like for instance, they're raising the price of their the Game Pass Ultimate, the highest tier. That's going up in price. So
Oh, I
it's,
saw that. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's frustrating to see stuff. I mean, it's cool. Like, oh, you guys are buying Activision, so maybe we'll get more things on Game Pass. But then also to see the price go up. So
yeah.
it is
They're gonna
frustrating.
pass the
But
actual cost on to the consumer. I mean, that
but so
is
to answer your question, here is the distinction, at least that I make between the two. In a lot of ways, especially in recent memory, Xbox is way more consumer friendly than Nintendo will ever be. The reason I say that, you can still play original Xbox and Xbox 360 games on your new Xbox systems. You can't do that with Nintendo.
that got nothing
Or
Not
to
or
do.
very.
or
That
or
got nothing to
Sony
do with being
or Sony.
evil. That has everything to do
Uh,
with their philosophy on their gaming. That's a philosophy. They decided to choose that as their method to stand
but
out from the other companies. That's
But
fine.
but let me finish. Let me
Mhm.
finish. And so
I'm gonna let you finish.
you let yeah you take away people's choice to play the games that they want to play, how they want to play it. But then also, uh, again, in my opinion, Xbox offers one of the most pro consumer tools out right now, which is the Game Pass subscription. Which actually, funny enough, the judge in the FTC case, if I'm not mistaken, gave praise to Xbox about how it is super uh, consumer friendly, and that Sony, if they want to compete, they need to step up and have something very similar to Game Pass, which I know they're working on doing, and they have their own little thing. But it, it's, you pay this flat fee, and you have access to these hundreds of games, and now all of their launch title games as well. Whereas something with Nintendo, you don't get that, and then what ends up happening is you pay $60 for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and you get a buggy piece of garbage that runs and looks terrible, with no way of knowing how it was, because you couldn't just pay a monthly fee to actually sit down and play it.
Wait, so that game is your actual means of making a point with all the Nintendo games that's been designed and made over the lifetime of Nintendo? I mean, the Pokemon is not even a good example to use, but all I can say is this. I agree with you. I'm not debating this, but the philosophies between these companies going to be different. That what makes them stand out. That's like Verizon and Sprint and or T-Mobile. Like every company is going to try to have something that makes them stand out. Nintendo's method is again, it's just going to be different than Sony's method. It's going to be different from Microsoft's method. I don't think anyone's method is evil. I don't think anyone is trying to be technically evil, like Brian says. BP said, "Sorry, I did it. I
Well,
And
it's out
beg
there
it.
again,
I
so
did
you
it."
know.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I did it. Yeah, so it's not about evil. Corporations again are still looking out for the shareholders. Fine. But when it comes to Microsoft, they have had practices throughout their entire existence as a company, from even their OS, their operating systems on computers, to them going into the gaming industry. Their intent and purpose for going into the gaming industry is that they want to conquer every single industry they get their foot into. That is their philosophy, always been their philosophy. Don't get tricked by them playing the nice guy right now. That's a short term way of looking at a short term way of understanding Microsoft. Microsoft's philosophy has always been to become a monopoly. The government had to step in and tell them no multiple times. So don't just let them fool you. Is all I'm saying. Yes, they are doing a lot of great things, but again, their end game is not to be consumer friendly. The end game is to control a industry, and they are almost there because they are fooling a lot of people. And I already know what the writing is on the wall when it comes to Microsoft in the gaming industry, but I won't put that on this show. We can save that for another show because I have enough hate right now. I already put that out there. This end is on a good note. So
Well,
Hey,
the
man.
best note to end it on, Baldur's Gate 3.
mm,
That's
I,
gonna be a masterpiece.
I might have to buy that game.
Y'all gonna have to buy that game. It's gonna be a masterpiece.
Uh,
I'll do more research on it. But I definitely saw the trailer and some of the gameplay, and it looks fun. I mean,
A-
it actually does look fun.
After Thursday, you ain't gonna hear from me. You ain't gonna hear from me, because I'm gonna be locked and loaded, boy. I tell you.
Yikes.
I'm gonna be honest, I still don't even know what this Baldur Gate thing is about, but I'll look into it.
Oh,
I think this is one of the games that you would like, Bron BP. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
getting
it's
late,
all
y'all.
right,
It's
man,
getting late, y'all. So
I
you
can see
know,
that.
it's yeah. Mm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might be right. I'll look at it, but yeah, we'll see, man.
ye-
I think kid, you said earlier it was like what the D&D, right?
So yeah, so basically it takes the mechanics of D&D, and it's an actual game. Baldur's Gate is an actual place in the D&D universe. So it's a D&D game. So if you're familiar with D&D, if you played it before, you're going to have a good understanding of how Baldur's Gate works, the classes, the mechanics, all that good stuff. But it plays exactly how a D&D game plays. So if you want to attack something, you're gonna have to roll the dice. Each spell attack has different dice that you roll to do damage and stuff like that. So, and what's cool is the game is doing all this for you in the background. So, it's as if you were playing D&D, but you're doing it on the computer for you, and it's just it's an RPG. So you can either make your own character, or they do have pre-existing characters that have their own lore and everything that kind of goes behind it. But essentially, you go through and you have to play through the game, and you can make the choices and do the things that you want to do. And their last game, they were, I mean, plenty of choices in different ways you can play the game. It's just, I'm just so excited.
I can definitely tell that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get there when I look at it. But it's kind of hard to overcome the Spider-Man 2 thing right now. So we'll see how it turns out.
Well, thankfully, and a good thing they did. A lot of developers don't do stuff like this. They actually pushed the release date forward. It was supposed to come out like August 31st or something like that.
Hmm.
But on PC, they pushed the release date forward to August 3rd. A big reason was because of Starfield. They didn't want to really compete with Starfield.
Yeah, it would be
So,
wise. Yeah.
um, so on PC, it comes out August 3rd. So I'm super excited. However, it's coming out on PS5, but it kept that release date, and or maybe it got pushed back, and it's like September 6th or 9th or something like that on PS5.
Oh,
So,
okay.
uh, unfortunately, you guys do have some time before you can play it. Well, Brian, you BP, you have a computer, I guess,
I do.
so you could potentially play it on there.
Okay.
But Star, on the other hand, would have to wait
Yeah,
to PS5.
I'm a console gamer. That's been my upbringing, and I seem to just more so gravitate towards consoles. Gaming on the PC to me is not as fun, and I don't know why. It could just be a mental block in my perception. But yeah, I can wait.
Man,
I'll be okay.
And it
don't let
is
the PC players hear you.
oh yeah,
Mm.
PC
Nah, but
gaming
go
is
ahead. Go ahead.
fun.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
And it is you can play up to 4 players. That's kind of why I was telling Star about it, BP, because
Hmm.
we could run up a game and all play together and go through the story um, as a team and everything like that.
Kid, it really sounds like you bought this game for us already, man. So appreciate that in
Thank
advance.
you, man. Yeah, I just
Yeah, that's
realized that you did
awesome.
that for us, man. Whew.
Yeah,
Listen to
man.
this
Big round of
audience.
applause for a kid, man. Your
Yeah,
generosity is amazing.
yeah, that
What?
soundboard and the applause. Sorry, what happened?
Yeah, we can do that, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where's the sad clap?
There you
There it
go.
is.
Yikes.
You
Fair
better make
enough,
me
sir.
leave this call. That's what's about to happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, man. And man, it's always one thing not changed by a kid. That man stingy about his money. Let me tell you. So, but yeah, cool,
But
cool. You
I'll
covered all the
definitely give you.
topics.
I think so. I think
Oh,
so. And
my bad. I cut you off. What were you about to say?
Oh no, nah. I was just gonna say I'll definitely give y'all a recap next time we do the show because
Oh, so when
Nice.
is the next show? So we don't have our audience just sitting back with their, sitting on their hands, just hoping we have a next show.
I want to go back to weekly if possible. Closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we kind of get into the whole closing kind of thing.
Your closing thoughts. I
Any, if there are
kind of,
any, I mean,
yeah, I kind of want to throw this out there because it's not gaming related, but at the same time, it's one of these stories that hits the headlines, and it's part of my passion, and so I like to kind of incorporate it somehow into the conversation. UFOs. I mean,
okay.
seriously, UFOs. We have it now, like normal conversation with the governments talking about there's a possibility that there's something out there that they don't know what it is. That might be non-human. So want to throw that out there so we can tie in some games that we have played in the past that had, characters and stuff in it that, was based on aliens and kind of figure out if some of these developers knew things that the government didn't know. So this, we might want to toss that into another topic down the line.
Well, folks, you heard it here first. Star Child's going to have his brand new podcast
Oh
called
no, no,
UFO
no, no.
Dissection. So I'm actually really excited, man. That sounded great. That sounded like you
Hey,
have a really, really, really good, strong disposition on that, man. I don't even know if that's the right word to use, but yeah,
that's the
that's
right word, but this is gonna be part of our show here. That ain't gonna be no separate show. I think that we should
hey,
just,
man, you can
you
have
know,
us featured on there, man. We'll be on there. I want to talk UFOs.
yikes, yikes.
I want to talk UFOs and stuff.
Okay, all
Right,
right.
kid?
Well, how about you, kid? Oh, the
yeah,
kid checked out.
Yeah, he's
I'm
smart,
right
man.
here.
He probably knows they're listening to us right now.
Oh, I probably.
Uh, so what's your end statements?
Who, me or kid?
I guess I did mine. So is there anyone else?
Man, so I did mine. Y'all better get on here and do y'all stuff, man. Leave me out here by myself.
Well, real quick, again, not to be a broken record, but Baldur's Gate 3, everything I've seen and heard about the game is just phenomenal. And like I was telling these two earlier, their last game, Divinity Original Sin 2, was a phenomenal game within itself. So to see this new game, and this is kind of like what we were talking about earlier. If you look at the CEO of the company, he's also the creative director, I think, for the game. You can see the passion in the way he talks, in his voice. Like you can hear the passion. Like he's one of those CEOs, and granted, he isn't the CEO of like a major like Activision type company or whatever, but just of this company, Larian Studios is the name of the production company. But you can just see that not only is he excited, but this is something that he's going to be playing himself, that he wants to do, which is just nice to kind of see from a developer, and not just, hey, how do we make our shareholders happy? They're like, how do we make our players happy? How do we make the gamers happy? So it just, I'm just so excited for this game. So I'm just gonna shut up, but I'm excited.
Hey man, that was a good plug just now.
I'll be
Yeah,
honest, I'm impressed with you, kid, because at first I was like, this man closed on Baldur's Gate? Like, what in the world? But you tied it back nicely. You did. That was a nice, good effort, bringing in the passion that they have, and that is about the gamers and not just what we can get as corporate. Yeah, that was good. That was good, man. I'll give you that.
Oh,
Let's
thank
give
you,
you
thank
another
you.
round of applause for that. Actually, I can't even find it. There it is.
Oh God.
Well, I mean,
BP?
as far as my closing thoughts, I'm just glad that we're back doing this. Honestly, like I just love the fact that we had actually a stronger discussion than I thought we would have, man. I mean, considering that we were really winging this, so that was a really good thing. I think that Star made some actual good points. I mean, we ended up not agreeing completely on stuff, but it was good just for us to kind of share our thoughts on the game industry as a whole, well, more so Nintendo than anything. But yeah, just these ideas as a whole. So I thought that was pretty good. I thought, kid, you did a good job too, venting out your frustration on those plates, so that was very engaging. And as far as just, I mean, that's really my final thoughts, man. I'm just glad that this is happening, honestly. There's really nothing else to
Sure.
add to it, man. I just think that we already said everything we need to say.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah, man. So it was good, man. Good episode. Let's hear it one more time.
All right, wrap it up. Come on.
That's all. That's it for me, man. My bad. I'm sorry.
All right, then kid, don't you wrap it up? I forgot how this works.
Well, I want to just say thank y'all for listening to us ramble for this amount of time we were rambling for, whatever that amount of time ended up being. We appreciate you guys as always, and please look forward to hearing from us again soon.
Love it.
Peace out. One love.
All right, y'all. Lead
Let's
up.
get it.